White and Aces coach Becky Hammond will also fine $1,000 for what was deemed public criticism of officiating on Sunday. So it looked like The Athletic was the one who originally broke the story. But yeah, guys, this is crazy here. So as we can see here, look like yeah, Stephanie White will be getting fined, and Cheryl Reeve. Now, many people in the WNBA is definitely commenting about this.
In an unexpected development, the WNBA handed out financial penalties to 3 different head coaches on the same day. The league hit Minnesota Lynx' Cheryl Reeve with a massive $15,000 fine, while Indiana Fever's Stephanie White and Las Vegas Aces Becky Hammon each received $10,000 penalties. All 3 violations stem from their public statements criticizing game officials this past Sunday. According to reports initially published by The Athletic and later verified by Alexa, Reeve's substantial penalty came as a result of her explosive confrontation following the game in Phoenix. What makes this situation particularly unusual is that 2 of the 3 penalized coaches weren't even involved in the match where the controversial incident occurred.
About this, we all knew that Cheryl Reeve was going to get hit with the hammer. So this whole situation with these coaches getting fined is a crazy one, man. 3 coaches get fined in one day for the same action, and neither one of the 2 coaches didn't even participate in the damn game. That's what's so crazy about all of this, bro. So I don't know exactly what Stephanie White said, but
the specifics of what White said during her media availability that triggered the league's response became clear when footage surfaced. During a press availability session, when questioned about the physical nature of the playoff series, White acknowledged she had already been penalized for backing Reeve's position, calling the situation crazy. She emphasized that the team simply wanted consistency in how games were officiated, nothing more. The press conference revealed additional context about White's perspective on the ongoing playoff run. She discussed the significance of being 1 victory away from advancing, reflecting on how different the circumstances felt compared to previous playoff appearances. White mentioned the full-circle nature of competing alongside players like Bree and others who had been part of championship teams years earlier.
White said, but supposedly she said something to get fined. Somebody said, yell the comments louder. The WNBA refs consistently officiate poorly and with bias. Somebody said trash league. Somebody said, get Kathy out of here. Another fan stated, yeah, that CBA deal isn't going through anytime soon. Kathy is destroying the league. The league is definitely being devalued right now. Another commenter stated, Kathy will do whatever she can to protect the idiots refs, but turns a blind eye to what's happening to the.
When pressed about the increasingly aggressive style of play throughout the postseason matchups, White declined to elaborate further, referencing her previous fine. However, she did address the challenge of preparing game strategies when officiating patterns remain unpredictable. She noted that athletes can adapt to physical play if the enforcement stays uniform throughout the entire 40 minutes, but inconsistent calls create problems. Reeve's $15,000 penalty came on top of a 1-game suspension the league had already imposed. According to Ben Pickman's reporting, Reeve had engaged in heated exchanges with spectators following the 3rd game of her team's series, using profanity during the altercation.
But turns a blind eye to what's happening to the players. Gotta 100% agree with that. More money for Kathy. I don't get how that's more money for Kathy. Money well spent. Bad look for the W. It's definitely a bad look, man. Anytime you get 3 coaches fined for 1 act is crazy. And I'm not justifying anything that Cheryl Reeve did. Because Cheryl Reeve shouldn't have.
The basketball community's reaction across social media platforms was swift and critical. Many observers questioned the league's priorities, with several pointing out the timing of these penalties amid ongoing collective bargaining agreement discussions. Critics argued that League Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's handling of these situations was damaging the sport's reputation and value. One recurring theme in the online discourse centered on where the collected fine money actually goes. According to information shared in various comment threads, these funds get divided between the WNBA Foundation and WNBA Cares programs, which distribute grants to various charitable organizations.
Have done what she did, bro. At the end of the day, Cheryl Reeve shouldn't have done what she did. Now, Ben Pickman stated Cheryl Reeve was fined $15K after game 3, in addition to her 1-game suspension per the league. Now, that is a hefty fine for them. You know, $15,000. Now, she was cursing out them fans. Another friend stated, what an unserious lead. No one holds the W back like the W. Maybe this is a dumb decision, but where does the money go?
However, skeptics joked that the money certainly wasn't being invested in improved referee training programs. The broader financial context adds another layer to this controversy. Reports indicate the league has acknowledged roughly $400 million in losses since its establishment 29 years ago, yet generated $425 million in revenue last year alone, with expansion fees expected to bring in $750 million this year, and a new media rights agreement projected to deliver $200 million annually. Questions arose about why officiating quality hasn't improved despite the influx of cash. Several commentators expressed frustration with what they perceived as the league undermining itself.
Where does the money go? Where does the money go? Let me see what they say down in the comments. One comment said, I always wondered that too. Fine money will be split eventually evenly between the WNBA to program and the WNBA Cares, and WBP goes to the foundation, which award grants to non-for-profit organizations. Straight into Kathy pockets. Somebody said definitely not getting better refs. Laughing my butt off. Hopefully a referee training camp. Yeah.
The phrase "no one holds the W back" like the W captured the sentiment that internal issues, particularly around officiating consistency, represented the biggest obstacle to growth. White's team had demonstrated remarkable resilience throughout the postseason, carrying a perfect 3-0 record in elimination games. She attributed this success to the adversity the squad had faced throughout the season, suggesting those challenges had prepared them for high-pressure moments. Whether those experiences would translate to victory in the upcoming decisive game remained to be seen. The matchup against Las Vegas held special significance for White, who viewed facing the defending champions as an opportunity to compete against the league's elite.
Laughing my butt off. Hopefully a referee training camp. Yeah, ref camp. Hey, that is a new one, referee camp. Meanwhile, league claims a loss of $400 million since the W interception, 29 years, but made $425 million last year in revenue, and expansion fees will collect $750 million in fees this year. New media deal estimated to bring $200 million each year, but they can't afford to.
She specifically mentioned her long-standing competitive relationship with Hammond, her draft classmate, noting the mutual respect between them made these contests meaningful beyond just the scoreboard. White emphasized that while teams can strategize for countless scenarios, they ultimately cannot prepare for unpredictable officiating. She stressed that if enforcement patterns could remain steady from the opening tip through the final buzzer, coaches and athletes could at least adjust their approach accordingly. The inability to anticipate how games would be called, however, created frustration throughout the league. The incident highlighted ongoing tensions between coaches, players, officials, and league leadership.
But they can't afford to get good refs. Yeah, it's crazy, ain't it, right? They're making all this money. Now, we know how this league is generating all that money, and it's just crazy that we're still going through this situation with the referees and other stuff targeting this league for is is this what Stephanie White said? I believe I found it. Let's go. Let's give it a listen. What is?
With 3 accomplished head coaches receiving penalties for essentially voicing similar concerns about officiating standards.
Now, in the case we're talking about here, we're talking about DeWanna Bonner. Now, DeWanna Bonner signed with the Fever. Wow. Several months ago, all of a sudden, DeWanna Bonner vanishes, right? Played a few games, vanished. What she did play, I wasn't impressed. But nonetheless, she vanished. And during that time period, I saw a lot of Indiana Fever fans, a lot of Caitlin Clark fans coming out in
The league's players appear largely unprepared for the scrutiny and critique that accompanies widespread fan engagement, as viewership has surged thanks to breakout stars bringing unprecedented audiences to the sport, including those drawn by emerging talents like Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. The expectations for professional conduct have naturally risen. When questionable situations arise, passionate basketball enthusiasts now voice their opinions, something these athletes haven't historically experienced. The situation involving DeWanna Bonner and the Indiana Fever exemplifies this cultural clash. Several months ago, Bonner joined the Fever organization amid considerable anticipation.
fans, a lot of Caitlin Clark fans coming out in support of DeWanna Bonner. People thought DeWanna Bonner was off passing a kidney stone, had a relative that was end of life. We thought something seriously was wrong. People are sending thoughts and prayers. And then we got a stench. And what was that stench? Well, that smells like a traitor.
After appearing in just a handful of contests, she suddenly disappeared from the roster. Her on-court contributions during that brief stint were underwhelming, but the abrupt absence raised immediate concerns. Fever supporters and Clark's fan base rallied around Bonner during her disappearance, assuming serious personal circumstances explained her absence. Speculation ran wild about potential health emergencies or family crises. The community offered genuine sympathy and well wishes, believing she faced legitimate hardship.
Well, that smells like a traitor. Whoa, that smells like a quitter. What is happening now? And then it surfaced that DeWanna Bonner was not happy with her playing time. Okay, what is happening now after we gave all that money, after the Fever gave all that money? And so the Fever said, all right, we will trade you. And then
the truth emerged and the narrative shifted dramatically. The actual reason behind Bonner's absence had nothing to do with medical emergencies or family tragedies. Instead, reports surfaced revealing her dissatisfaction with the minutes she received during games. This revelation transformed the situation from sympathetic to controversial.
Fever said, all right, we will trade you. And then a couple days go by, we find out DeWanna Bonner only wants to be traded to the Phoenix Mercury. Hold up. Wait a minute. So you're telling me DeWanna Bonner only wants to be traded to the team where her wife, girlfriend, husband, whatever in the hell they want to call it, where she is?
After the organization had invested significant financial resources in acquiring her services, Bonner was reportedly unhappy with her role. The franchise responded by agreeing to explore trade options to accommodate her preferences. However, the situation took another problematic turn. Additional reporting indicated that Bonner would only accept relocation to one specific destination, the Phoenix Mercury.
Whatever in the hell they want to call it, where she is playing? By the way, all in the background of this is Stephanie White being all great with these two. You want to know why I'm not a big Stephanie White fan? The incestuous nature of whatever goes on with her and DeWanna Bonner and Alyssa Thomas is exactly why. I just kept it real. I don't trust her.
This particular demand raised eyebrows throughout the basketball community because Phoenix happens to employ Bonner's romantic partner. The entire scenario created uncomfortable optics, with many perceiving the situation as prioritizing personal relationships over professional commitments. Background complications involving coaching staff connections to both Bonner and other players, particularly Alyssa Thomas, added layers of complexity to the narrative. The perception spread that Indiana's organization had been manipulated in this transaction, especially considering Bonner's presence on the roster was directly connected to coaching preferences.
I just kept it real. I don't trust her over those two. I don't. All right, whatever that means. I feel like the Fever franchise got scammed, right? So, and look, DeWanna Bonner wouldn't have been on the team if it wasn't for Stephanie White. Let's just keep it real, all right? But this is not about Stephanie White. So last night, the Phoenix Mercury defeated the Lynx, and now they lead the series 2-1.
The entire episode left many questioning the integrity of the situation and feeling the franchise had been taken advantage of. Following Phoenix's victory over Minnesota in their playoff series, giving them a commanding position, Bonner addressed media members alongside Thomas, who carries her own reputation for difficult on-court conduct and attitude issues. During this appearance, Bonner adopted a victim stance, accusing the entire fan base of harassment and bullying behavior. Her comments expressed ongoing emotional difficulty, describing the experience as overwhelming and challenging.
And now they lead the series 2-1. DeWanna Bonner went out post-game with the dirtiest player in the game sitting right next to her, Alyssa Thomas, fresh off of, and by the way, I didn't think it was possible for anybody to have a worse attitude than Dejanay Carrington. Alyssa Thomas is her, or whatever. Worst attitude in professional sports. So DeWanna Bonner went out there.
She specifically referenced cyberbullying as something she had endured, suggesting she hadn't fully recovered from the ordeal. While expressing gratitude for teammates, family, and children who helped restore her enjoyment of basketball, Bonner painted herself as someone who had suffered unjustly at the hands of critics. She claimed some days felt impossible to navigate, requiring support from teammates to continue. The subtext was clear. She viewed herself as a victim of fan persecution.
Professional sports. So DeWanna Bonner went out there last night, decided to play the victim card, and then accuse an entire fan base of being a bully to her.
Oh man, I don't know if I've overcome it yet. It's been like a whirlwind, but yeah, it's been tough. You know, it's been tough. I've been through a lot, especially like the cyberbullying and things like that, but just...
The media present at this session failed to challenge Bonner's characterization or ask follow-up questions about the circumstances that led to fan criticism. Her direct quote about not knowing if she had overcome the whirlwind and specifically mentioning cyberbullying represented a direct accusation against Indiana supporters and Clark's fan base. She essentially labeled everyone who criticized her decision to abandon her commitment as bullies. This represents perhaps the most blatant case of an athlete walking away from team obligations in recent memory.